What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction video, and in this one we have 7 surprising things cheaper in the UK than America. And you know what? I don't know if I'll be surprised that things would be cheaper in the UK than America, because at the end of the day, it's America where things are super expensive. But let's hear these 7 things. I might end up being surprised. Maybe, possibly. We'll see. Before we dive in, however, if you happen to enjoy the video, don't forget to give the video a like and smash that subscribe button.
NYU. Ever heard of it? Pretty famous university. That'll cost you $58,000 per year. From the astronomical cost of cell phone plans in the US to food costs that are going to empty your wallet in America, there are quite a few things that are a lot more expensive in the USA than in the UK, and in this video we're gonna go over some of them. A lot of people often think of things that are more expensive in the UK than in the US. I feel like you've all heard the story of the person, or been the person yourself, who goes on holiday to the US and ends up buying tons of clothes from the outlet malls, as we call them, because it's cheaper in the US than in the UK. But not everything is affordable in the US. In fact, a lot of it isn't. Now let's start with groceries, because
a lot of it, when she said a lot of it, she means a lot of it isn't. Is not. But I'm sure you know that.
This is talked about a lot on the internet, and it's true. When directly compared, groceries or food items in the US tend to be about 30 to 50% more expensive than in the UK. Honestly, when I go back to the US to visit, some of the prices are honestly so shocking that I don't even end up buying some of my favorite American foods that I've been missing for years, because I cannot fathom paying $7 for a box of cheese crackers or something equally insane. Part of this has to do with competition. So the US has quite a lack of competition in the supermarket and grocery space, unlike in the UK where the market is saturated and there are plenty of options. Stores like Aldi that are cheaper are making inroads in the US, but this is only in recent years. It was a big deal when an Aldi came to my local town a few years ago, as before then we only had about 2 options for grocery stores. Whereas in the UK, I can easily think of how to get to the local Waitrose, Morrisons, Asda, Tesco, Sainsbury's, and Co-op at least, probably more, from my house. Number 2 is mobile.
Yeah, I guess we really do have less competition here. I guess the grocery stores I could think of: Walmart, Target, Publix, and I know there's more different ones, but she said a lot of grocery stores she could go to just in range of her house. If I'm talking about just in range of where I'm at, the only grocery stores, like I said, Walmart, Target, Food City. I don't know if we got a Publix anywhere close to us. So 3 grocery stores that are at most 10 minutes drive. At most. So dang. But yeah, I knew food was more expensive in the US because I've seen those comparison videos. I did not know 30 to 50% more expensive. That's absolutely insane to me. That's a big percentage difference. Sheesh.
Phone plans. So another absolutely shocking difference when you really get down to the numbers between UK and USA prices is cell phone plans or mobile phone plans. My plan here in the UK costs about £10 a month, and honestly I don't even know the amount of data in minutes because there is so much of it that I would never run out, so I don't even think about it. And I'm on my phone a lot, so that's £10 per month. In the US, per person, they call the $50 US phone plans the cheaper options, and most people tend to be paying anywhere from $75 to $100 at least per month for their cell phone plan. Again, this comes down to lack of competition for one thing. So compared to the UK, the USA just doesn't have as many providers, thus they can up their prices. It also does cost more to serve the larger geographical area in the US, which has a less densely populated population, a less densely populated country than in the UK, making prices higher yet again. The next thing on my list is...
Bro, she said 10 years. She said 10 pounds a month. Like she said, what we pay here normally, around $60 to $80 a month for phone plan. 10 pounds compared to $60, $80. That difference is so freaking gigantic. We're robbing. We're thieves over here, bro. These big companies, thieves. Thieves who are stealing legally. That is exactly what they're doing. They are stealing legally. Talk to me.
Kind of a fun one, but that's Broadway versus the West End tickets. So it's kind of more niche, but tickets for the West End are usually a lot cheaper than Broadway in New York City for the same quality of show. The West End has some of the best theater in the whole world, and yet the ticket prices for the absolute best seats in the West End are typically the prices for some of the cheapest and pretty bad seats on Broadway. When visitors come to the UK to see me, they are always surprised at how many shows they can fit in on their budget, because you can get some tickets in the West End for as low as like £20 if you're willing to have a restricted view. And I saw this post, which made me laugh, and it was titled, "Is American theater expensive or am I just poor?" So yeah, you're not imagining it. American theater is typically very expensive, and you get more for your money for West End shows. Next up is healthcare.
Is American theater expensive or am I just poor? I never been to theater, so I don't really have much to say on that topic. But so we'll continue. I'll only speak on the ones that I really have experience with. Broadway, West End, theater. I guess just cheaper in the UK.
Very expensive, and you get more for your money for West End shows. Next up is healthcare. Everybody knows healthcare is much more expensive in the US than in the UK, because in the UK, technically, as long as you use the NHS as a UK citizen, you pay nothing. You pay through your taxes, yes, if you are tax paying, but you don't get a bill at the end of a hospital stay, a doctor visit, or, giving birth to a child. In the US, the average cost before insurance of giving birth is around $20,000, depending on potential complications. That can be reduced to around $3,000 or $4,000 with insurance, but then you're also paying for health insurance. The average annual cost of health insurance in the US is around $7,000 for an individual and $20,000 for a family per year. This came up in my video about UK versus USA ambulances. The thought of needing to pay for an ambulance in the UK doesn't cross most people's minds. If you have a heart attack and need to be transported to the hospital, you're not going to get a bill for the service. But in the UK, you are, typically to the tune of a few $1,000s. This is definitely one of the more serious items on...
I think she meant to say in the US you're going to get a bill. Typically a couple $1,000s.
My list, as the cost of healthcare in the US can completely bankrupt families or individuals through no fault of their own. There are many things that you can't control in life, even if you are the healthiest and you exercise daily and you're in picture perfect health. Sometimes life has other plans, and it's terrifying for many Americans who end up with so much healthcare debt. This isn't a fear in the UK. Next is car insurance.
That's crazy. I mean, I know about the healthcare in the U.S. I know that so many other countries do it a lot better in terms of making it more affordable for their citizens. Where I feel like healthcare in a lot of other countries looked at as a right, it's a human right. In the U.S., it's looked at as a privilege, as a luxury. Like she said, most Americans in general pay like $7,000 a year. That's literally mind blowing. You're paying $7,000 a year for healthcare, and you might not ever need it. You may never need it. And then, but if you choose to not be insured and you do need it, then you're going into the bankruptcy as soon as you break an arm or something. Like, it's truly unfortunate. It's truly sad. It's scary that it's like that. It's truly scary that it's like that here. But yeah, healthcare is just one that's absolutely awful in terms of affordability for citizens.
Insurance. Car insurance estimates in the UK yearly are obviously based on like the age that you are, the car you drive, where you live, where you keep the car, if you're a good driver like some people or a bad driver like me. But typically you're looking at around £400 to £800 per year, which seems a lot to Brits, as car insurance prices have been rising in the UK, but Americans are typically paying a lot more. The average cost of US car insurance is over $2,000 per year. There was another funny
Yeah.
exchange I found online when a British person commented that they had met a young person, they were a male, who was driving a sports car, an American,
Ooh.
and this person told the British person that their car insurance costs around $300. So the British person was like amazed. They were posting online going, how can it be this cheap? And all the Americans had to come online and to say, actually, that's going to be the monthly price. American car
Yeah.
insurance can be
Yeah.
such a hefty fee that we talk about it in the US in a monthly context. So that
Yes.
person was not paying $300 per year, but per month.
Yes.
Next on my list is higher education.
And I don't have a fancy sports car, and I have a good driver record for the moment. But even that, at my age, in my car, I'm paying like $215 a month. A month. $215 a month is absolutely insane. That comes out to over $2K a year, so I fall into that cool category. So paying $400 to $800 a year would be absolutely gorgeous. That would be absolutely perfect. I would love that. I would. That's under $100 a month. That's maybe what, 50, 60 bucks a month. I can do that all day. I can pay that all day. Oh my God! We're getting robbed out here, bro. We're getting robbed out here, bro.
Education. Higher education is another one of those incredible figures when you dig into the numbers. In England, a university can charge a home student a maximum of £9,250 per year, which is about 13,000 US dollars, which again, I know there's been lots of like reporting in the UK that people, or in England rather, that people find it as very expensive. The costs are rising and it seems an astronomical cost. It's certainly not cheap. I mean, it's like £10,000 per year. However, in the US, wait for it, there are some universities, particularly with their in-state tuition, as we call it, where tuition fees can be under $10,000, but most aren't. The cheapest tuition for the University of Pittsburgh, for example, is $21,000 per year. The University of Florida, if you're an in-state student, you're a resident in the state, it's going to run you about $6,000 US dollars per year. Okay, kind of makes sense. But for every other US student, so from every other state in the US, you're looking at 28 grand. And these are small numbers. Harvard, over 50 grand per year. Per year. 50,000 US dollars. At least that's just for tuition. That's not for what we call room and board and all the rest. NYU. Ever heard of it? Pretty famous university.
Yeah.
That'll cost you $58,000 per year. Even the international student fees in England for universities do not touch these absurd numbers. So often
Crazy.
students moving from the US to the UK to study, even paying the more expensive international fees, are basically looking at a bargain. And
Yes.
finally, and
It's absolute insane. It's insanity here, bro. In America, the money is the almighty dollar. America revolves around the almighty dollar. Everything is a business. And when I say everything, I mean legit everything is a business. Healthcare, saving people's lives, is a business. Right? Education is a business. America, the United States of America itself, is a business. Everything. And it's crazy, but it's America.
And on a lighter note, there are so many free museums in the UK, particularly in the capital city of London. Everything from the British Museum to the Natural History Museum to the Tate Modern and Tate Britain, the Science Museum. You can keep listing them. There's a lot of world-renowned museums. These are not like dinky little museums, and they're completely free. In the US, free museums do exist, but they're not as much of a thing as in the UK. If you're going to New York City, you're looking at like $26 a person for the Museum of Natural History, $24 for the famous Museum of Modern Art, etc. Luckily, in Washington, D.C., we do have the Smithsonian, which is quite a world-famous collection of museums, which are free, as well as more free options than in New York City. But overall, I would say there are more cultural subsidies in in the UK that can lower the price of these experiences for people, if not making a lot of them completely free. Now that brings me to the end of this list. Comment below on which one surprised you the most. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
I just say I didn't know that phone prices were that cheap in the UK. I didn't know the phone deals were that cheap. I didn't know that car insurance was that cheap in the UK either. That's like I'm just surprised. I'm shocked. I'm astounded. My mind's blown. Yeah. Shout out to the UK. Y'all saving some money out there. I'll tell you that. That's all we have though. If you guys enjoyed that, please don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and check out this next video. See you guys there.